how to set up SSL certificate using Let's Encrypt service. We're going to set up SSL certificate in our network where we have 2 servers and 1 data storage, and then we're gonna install this certificate in load balancer. Now, the first step to generate the certificate, we have to install the certbot. For this, I'm using the Python, and first I'm doing the update, then get pi pip.py, and then install the certbot. This will install the certbot in my server. Then I want to update the Nginx configuration to ensure I have one location where the certbot request will gonna go. Okay, in future I'm gonna create multiple different domains, but I don't want to manage every domain. I want the certbot to come only to one place to get validation. In configuration for that domain, I'm adding this section where if something is coming, if the request is coming with that well-known ACME challenge, then it will be redirected to the data Nginx Let's Encrypt folder, and there will be the folder structure for that request. Once I have a preparation done, and that request is going over the port HTTP, and once I have that preparation done, I'm gonna insert creating the certificate. The certificate will be creating using 2 commands. First, to register my email. That I'm register my email address where I'm agreed to terms and conditions, and then I'm requesting the certificate where I'm specifying the web root location and domain name. Certbot will create a file, it will create the files in that location, will send the request to the server, and server will try retrieve and validate that you are the owner of this. That's why here will be important to have this in your Nginx configuration file, that when the request is gonna come, it will land to the respective folder. Okay. Once this is done, now we will have the certificate in file system. Then the next, we're going to configure the load balancer. The certificate will create the 3 files: cert, full chain, and private key. We're going to use those 3 files and update the load balancer configuration. Okay. Now we're creating the certificate. Now we have to creating the listener 443. In the configuration of the listener 443, we will be adding that reference for that certificate. Okay, great, we have a SSL created. Now we have to allow connection to our network over the port 443. That now we have to go to security list and update and enabling the port 443 to access our network from the public network. Okay, till now 443 was not allowed. Once we complete this, our page will load, but it will be not fully loaded. In the VP, in the WordPress blog, the WordPress is expecting HTTPS, but now we have a mixed. We have HTTPS coming to load balancer, but then from load balancer to the server we have HTTP. Okay, that there is the mismatch. Now we have to update the configuration of the VP to handle this connection. Okay, now to update this configuration, we're going to add to the VP config PHP. We're going to add that this section where we're gonna define HTTPS equal server HTTP X forwarder proto, and this will tell WordPress how to handle the connection. And last point in our configuration setup is to set the VP settings in the database to use HTTP instead HTTPS. Okay, we know what we're gonna do. We have 7 steps to complete. Let's do it. Okay, let's connect to our server. I'm connecting right now to app2 server, where I'm going to install the certbot. Now the certbot we see is in the path. Okay, user local bin certbot. Now using the certbot, let's register. Now we're going to log in as root. I'm accepting my email address, account register, and now I'm going to install the certificate. Okay, the right certificate is successfully installed. Now the certificate is successfully installed because I already configured my domain, and we have to remember that step. Step number 2, where we configured the domain. Okay, and make sure you have this entry in your domain. If you don't have this, then you will be not able to access this page. Okay, now let's see what we have here. When you configured this, the way how you can validate that this is configured, you can just creating the text file or HTML file and validate this is available. Okay, let's go to this page, to this folder. Have to go to that and there is already test. Okay, then now I have to go to folder t.html, and I have a test response. That once I have this test response, that now I can execute the creating the certificate, because now the server will be able to reach this location. Okay, if you're gonna execute the create certificate but you're gonna get the issue, then make sure you have this allowed in your configuration, that server can access that well known, this is the hidden file, hidden folder, can access your file system. Other way you can get like 403 error code, which is the decline connection. Okay, we have the certificate. The certificate is in the folder etc let's encrypt live. And here we have links to respective folders. Now we're going to take the cert, full chain and private key pen and update our configuration of the load balancer. Okay, now let's go to our certificates. The Oracle provides two places where we can update the certificate. This is the service managed certificate, which is globally, or load balancer managed certificate, which is locally to load balancer. Today we're going to just add this as a local manage. I have one certificate which I did before. Now let's just add another one. I'm gonna put OCI demo 3.dns.net and the date. And here I can paste the certificate, CA and key. Okay, I have certificate. Now CA file, which is the full. And private key. Okay, I'm not using the face, but let's just I copy wrong. Okay. Okay, certificate is creating. This process you can use to any certificate, any SSL certificate which you're going to use or purchase from the third party to have to secure your website. Now, once we add the certificate, we need to go to the listener and configure the load balancer. Then we're gonna create load balancer and we're gonna create ls HTTPS. Select here HTTPS port 443 by the default, locally manage, and select your SSL certificate. We're using the certificate with today's date, host name, and backend servers we're using application servers. Okay, it's gonna take a couple minutes. Okay, we're good. We have a SSL configured. Now, if we're going to try access this website over HTTPS, we see there is the connection failure. There is the connection failure. Okay, we have to enabling the port 443. And now let's go to our network, virtual cloud network, to our public default security list, and here we have to add port 443. 000. Okay, this is the website that we want everybody to access to our web and HTTPS connection, and put the description. Okay, now HTTPS is available. Let's try our page, and we see we have the page loaded. The page may not be loaded successfully as is right now here, because we have to enabling the handling of HTTP and HTTPS. Okay, here it may successfully load because I was doing the test before. Okay, let me open in the private window. Let's see this in private window. Okay, it's still looking good, but in case that the CSS will not load and things will not look correctly, there is the two things which you have to do. First is to update the config file and enabling. You have to tell WordPress that you have HTTPS connection, but your server, between the load balancer and server, it is on the HTTP. Become okay, here is that section where there is the if HTTPS. Now if I'm gonna block this, okay, I'm gonna comment this out for now and show you what's gonna happen. Okay, I comment in that section and let's see. Okay, you see now we can we can load our website right now. We can connect to our website, but we are losing like CSS. We're losing the images. Okay, this is because we have to enabling the we have to tell WordPress that we are handling the connection through the load balancer, and to load balancer we have HTTPS, behind load balancer we have HTTP, but WordPress has to know this. The page will work perfectly fine if you have HTTP connection full through. Now, to do this, we need to add the little bit information to VP config. Now, let's go to our, let's edit our VP config, and we're going to enabling this section, which is this section will tell the WordPress that we are using HTTPS connection. Okay, this is one thing. And now the second thing is to enabling the configuration of this domain in the WordPress that it is using HTTP. Okay, now let's HTTPS. Okay, now everything is loading. Let's refresh. Okay, I'm gonna go here to say demo. Okay, everything is working as expected. Okay, and now I'm using the database connection and I'm changing back the site URL to HTTP. Apply. Okay, I'm going. Okay, now I can log in. But now we're going to have a small problem because our URL will be the HTTP in some elements. Now this is what we can do, is to set the HTTPS. Okay, everywhere we see HTTPS actually on the URLs. Okay, let's go to portfolio, and we're going to first. Okay, everywhere we have HTTPS. That now actually we can log in. Right, that now when you're looking here for the configuration, and you have a site URL is HTTP, but home is HTTPS, and this site is nice and fully working. Okay, let's see the general. You have this also here, that mismatch. Okay, we can look into this another time and see exactly more deep into the WordPress, why and how this is supposed to be nicely configured and why this doesn't work. But based on the general and objective of this training, how to set HTTPS in load balancer, we completed that. And now you saw that we created the Let's Encrypt certificate. This certificate creating the cert, full chain, and private key. You adding this to certificate, you creating the certificate in load balancer, then you creating the listener on HTTPS. Once you create listener, you when you're creating listener, you adding the SSL to that listener. Then you're going to security list, and you enabling the port 443 for your website. Now 443 is enabling, and you can browse your website. It's available. Configuration in the VP config to enabling full support for HTTPS, and site is fully working using HTTPS connection. Like you see here, you can browse and you can test every port. Alright, see you in the next video. In the next video, we will be creating the script which will automatically generate the Let's Encrypt certificate and insert this to load balancer and update. Let's Encrypt certificate is valid for 90 days. After 90 days, you have to update. It means you have to go through this process again and again. When you buy certificate, then you buy certificate for a year, 2 years, or 3 years. This way you exercise this every 1, 2, or 3 years. Here with Let's Encrypt, you have to do this every 3 months. But Let's Encrypt allow you to generate SSL certificate automatically. Now, we're going to generate automatically every 90 days the new certificate, and then insert the certificate to load balancer, and the page will be fully working consistently. See you in the next video.